I'm a filmmaker, and then found out I wasn't just a filmmaker, I was a problem solver, as most filmmakers actually are.
That's Greg Olliver. And one of the problems he's solving is how to enable a team of 9 post-production editors and assistant editors to edit a Hulu series completely remote. Greg's the founder of Secret Weapon Studios, a tech house that creates tools for filmmakers.
We were talking to clients, and they were like, about a year ago, they were like, how can you help with post workflows? Everyone's remote, but there's not one turnkey spot that doesn't.
Welcome to VP Land, where we talk about the latest tech and tools in filmmaking. I'm Joey Dowd, your host. In this episode, we're mostly going to focus on PostHero, their remote editing solution using Blackmagic's cloud hardware. But we'll also talk about some of their other tools like CrewHero and PlanetHero.
We can literally offset the carbon footprint of a film shoot now with a couple clicks on our website.
All the links and references we talk about can be found in the show notes or in the YouTube description. And for the latest news and behind-the-scenes breakdowns in virtual production and video tech tools, be sure to subscribe to the VP Land newsletter. All right, now let's jump into our chat with Greg. Well, thanks for coming on, Greg. Appreciate it. So let's nerd out about post-production stuff. Let's start with PostHero. So just give me an overview of PostHero, and then we'll jump into the case study.
PostHero is part of a collection of tech-enabled tools that we built at Secret Weapon Studios, which is, I'm a filmmaker, and then found out I wasn't just a filmmaker, I was a problem solver, as most filmmakers actually are, and then once in a while they get to be creative. So we launched a Secret Weapon Studios as a tech company to help filmmakers, and we built in like tools by one at a time. And we built CrewHero to help you find crew. I think that's how I met you.
Yeah, I've used CrewHero. It's been great. It is an awesome tool for finding vetted crew. That's always a problem that pops up where I'm like, I got to do the shoot somewhere randomly, and then you start reaching out to people, and they're like, hey, do you know someone in the spot? And then, but yeah, Crew. I've been so impressed. Found someone in Shanghai to shoot some stuff. Worked out great.
Nice, thank you. So thanks for using it. You're like one of our regular customers. So we're like Joey needs crew. Everybody, all hands on deck. So we built that, it started working, and then we were talking to clients, and they were like, about a year ago, they were like, how can you help with post workflow? It's just not, it's everyone's remote, but there's not one turnkey spot that doesn't. You guys claim to be helping people with turnkey tech. And so that's how this started. A client asked for help. And then literally that month I was meeting with a friend of mine, is Jim Rhoda, who's the director of Blackmagic Design North America. And he's also a producer. He produces all Dave Grohl's stuff and all like the Foo Fighters doc series and their movie, was it 666 or whatever it was called, that horror movie they did? Oh, Studio 666. Okay. It's very cheesy horror featuring the Foo Fighters. And so, but I knew he did that, but I didn't know he was working at Blackmagic Design, and he heard me talking about our tech, and he's like, dude, you got to see what we're doing with Resolve now. And Resolve has editing, and it's not just editing, it's editing, cloud-based editing, and it's super turnkey, and it's hardware software combination, and it's brand new technology. Would you guys like to hustle it at Secret Weapon? And so we did, and that's we called it PostHero. All of our products are heroes, and we called it PostHero, and we started pitching it around as like, hey, we can, this is the new wave of editing. Everyone's, there's Premiere, there was Final Cut's gone now for professional stuff, right? So you have Avid and Premiere. And there's always these waves of change, and all these editors we've been working with start saying, yeah, we know that Resolve is coming. It's coming. It's like really good. They're getting better. It's smarter hardware, software. And then so Jim was saying, since you guys find crew, if you bring talent to the table for this, I think it'll be an easier sell than without. Like anything else, people are like, okay, cool. There's better technology, but does anybody know how to use it? Are they using it yet? So our goal was for PostHero to bring everything together totally turnkey. So we have editors, AEs, anybody, colorists, sound mixers, everybody that's like Resolve savvy, and then we bring the hardware and software together so you can edit on this like cloud platform that they have, which is called Collaboration. And that's how it started. And we started hustling that about a year ago and pushing it around, and we landed a Hulu show with it. And if you want to hear about that now, or you want to wait to talk about that, and that was like our first real client with that.
Yeah, and I know that was a case study. I think we posted a bit about it, and it was going around the internet. But yeah, so I guess one thing though, so what was interesting, so you're not only providing the connection and the technical support, which we'll get into, but also like bringing assistant editors or editors that are familiar with the Blackmagic network and the Blackmagic, like this new remote setup from Blackmagic.
Yeah, and training, like the idea was like, what's the hurdles are like, okay, this seems smart for saving money, saving on shipping, saving on ease of just post production and everything across the board. But then the biggest hurdle becomes like an editor not wanting to do it, or not knowing, not having been trained on it yet. And so we're like, well, we have editors that have done it, that know how to use it, that are excited to use it, or we'll train your editors, we'll talk them into seeing how easy it is, and then we'll also hold everybody's hands during production. So we have trained personnel that make it easier for everybody, regardless of how familiar they are with the software. And that sort of us being the glue of all those parts made it like a no-brainer for the Hulu show. And just I don't know that they would have done it without us. You have to go out and buy these drives, train editors, like get them connected with Blackmagic team, try it, and it's something that'll eventually start picking up because more and more people are cutting at it. But we're making it just like super easy, so there's no reason to say no, except you just got to get. And if your editor doesn't want to do, we had some tough cookies that we had to work through on Hulu show that were old school avid editors, but they ended up digging it.
Okay, so yeah, let's jump into the Hulu show. So this was the Conversations project, right? And so it was a series of dinner conversations, some multi-camera, I imagine lots of long takes.
Yeah, it was like a six-part series shot in New York. It was multicam conversations, like dinner and drinking, shot in New York, and I can't remember. I think they shot on Sony's, and they had they said like we're gonna have 2 editors, a couple of AEs, some story producers, and ultimately need like 9 systems going. Can we do that? And so we put together a plan with Blackmagic to say yes. And so they shot in New York. That aired. It launched in August. So we shot in New York last February. Or no, it was this February they were shooting it. And what we did was you have one main drive that was on set, and our workflow architect loads the media to that drive, and it spits it out to everybody else's drives, the proxies. But to back up, we had to have calls with. Sorry, this is the best part. The producers wanted to do it. We were working with the Rick Van Meter was one of the producers and knew Secret Weapon, and he knew what we were doing, and he's like, this sounds really smart. It sounds like it's going to save us money. And I'm like, it'll definitely save you money on hard costs, and it'll save you headaches. But he's like, but my editor, he's like, it's up to the editors. He's like, the editors they've worked on a pilot and a sizzle for it, and we were like, we want to stay with these guys, but they're both avid editors. So if you can sell the editors, then we'll do this. And I was like, okay, let's go. So we set up a call with their 2 editors, and then the Blackmagic team and our guys. And I was the first one on the Zoom call, and one of their editors, I think his name was Chris, got on the call. And I'm like, hey, Chris, nice to meet you. I'm Greg with Secret Weapon. What's your role on this? And he said, I'm an avid editor. I was told to be here. That's literally what he said. I was like, oh, okay, great. This dude's going to be a tough one to crack. And that's where I invented the word avidtude. Avidtude. He had total avidtude, man. We were like on a call for an hour, and he was saying, I'm so good at Avid. I don't want to do this. I don't want to switch over. I have an old trash can that I don't want to update because it's got the older Avid on it. And if I get updated, I can't use my older Avid. And he's like, and if I can't even use it. So this is a moot point, and I shouldn't even be on this call. I was like, dude, if you just stay on the call and I'll then give me your address, I'll send you a brand new Mac and this hardware just to test it out. Like, you're a dinosaur with this old trash can thing, and you're at some point it's going to die. And what are you going to do? And so he agreed. And so we gave him like all the hardware to test it out. He started with like a new Mac and the hardware, and a couple of phone calls with these 2 avid editors and a couple of AEs and the Blackmagic team doing these walkthroughs. They really like started to see how easy it would be. And they ended up saying, after sending them hardware and waiting quietly a few weeks, we got a call back and said, okay, they said, let's do it. Right. And so that's how we got the gig. And the show started shooting. And then what's nice about Resolve is you can set it up pretty easily to match Avid or Premiere, the shortcuts. Mm-hmm. And then I think the biggest complaint was like, I don't know this shortcut, or how come I can't drag all the audio files at one time? And they're like, oh, just push this button and not that button.
Muscle memory.
It was like a lot of
adjustment.
Yeah, it's sort of normal adjustment of learning something new, but it ended up not being anything major. It was like lots of little things. Mm-hmm. But then, so to back up to where I backed up from, each one of these, so we had the main hard drive in New York, an 80 terabyte drive that we would dump the raw media to, and through Resolve, it automatically makes proxies, and it would send the proxies as they're making them up to the cloud through Dropbox. And then anybody on their post team that had permissions through Blackmagic has these little cloud store drives on their desk, which are 8 terabytes. and the proxies would go straight down to their little cloud store drives. So the media goes up and then goes down to them wherever they are. And so then everyone gets all the media at the same time. And if they're not plugged in, they plug in later and the media automatically goes to their drives. And then the beauty of it is you're editing, you're not relying on the internet speeds, you're editing with media on your desktop, on your desk. And then, but whatever you're doing in that project is instantaneously sent to all the other teams. So everyone sees what's happening in real time on the timeline. So the editors could see the AEs in the bins, and the AEs could see the editors cutting, and you can literally color grade shots in the timeline while you're editing it because you're already in Resolve.
And everyone's on the same project.
Everyone's on the same project, yeah, and you're not. There's no EDLs being shipped. There's no edit lists. There's no media being FedEx. There's no other drives being FedEx. There's no chance for a mistake, and you know, like picking the wrong files or whatever. And everyone sees what they're doing at the same time. And then the producers could log on and they could watch it in real time if they wanted to. We had a Slack channel going with all the editors and AEs and the Blackmagic team. And for the first week, it was like chaos and all these questions. And then it got quieter, and it got so quiet to the point I'm like, shit, is the Slack? I was like, something's wrong because it's too quiet. And I checked in with one of the editors and he was like, no, it's going good. We're good. And it just was nice and smooth. And so those grumpy Avid editors were all of a sudden happy because they were just, the one guy was on a laptop with his little hard drive we sent him, and he was in Puerto Rico, then he went to LA, then he went to New York, and he was hopping all over the place, and he was just jumping on and off the project and seemed really happy. And he's like, this is so mobile, it's so simple, it's so awesome. You could cut on the plane because you don't need internet to cut. You know, you're cutting off of your project locally, and then when he plugged it back in, anything he did gets updated. So yeah, it went like that, and sort of proved it was the first show that they had done on that platform, like the first series that Blackmagic had done. They had done a bunch of other Disney projects and other things, because a lot of the guys at Blackmagic are filmmakers. It's pretty cool. They're all hands-on filmmakers, which is why I think their stuff's so intuitive and easy to understand, because it's oh, a filmmaker built this menu, not somebody that doesn't do film, right? But we were the first to do that, and it was a 6 months, and then they delivered it, and there was no issues, and I got all the hard drives back, and we're like, holy shit, it worked.
All right, real quick break. If you are enjoying this type of content, if you like staying up to date on the latest tools and tech and all the things that are changing the way that we are making movies, then you will like VP Land. It is our newsletter that goes out 2 to 3 times a week, 3 times when more stuff is happening. We don't like to fill your inbox with useless junk. So if you want to get the newsletter, which covers stuff like we're talking about here and a whole bunch more, go to ntm.link/VPland and subscribe. All right, now back to the interview. That's awesome. So to take a step back, or just to go through Blackmagic's ecosystem. So the big hard drive we're talking about, so the Blackmagic, they got the cloud store, which is the server that's configurable. You had an 80 terabyte system, but that one I don't remember the range, but you could pick your size, right, of storage.
Yeah, I think it goes up to 320. They start at 8, then 20, then 80, and then 320. I think they're adding more to it. But yeah, we had an 80 terabyte for the master.
Okay, and so that was on set, and that was just where the media was getting uploaded to.
Yep. And so once they wrapped, we moved that. That was in our office, and then at the end we just moved it to the Postworks in New York. So they had all the raw sitting there. You can send the raw out of that if you want to drives, but it was just it was more about where's the safe place for this to be. So, but then we were also backing it up on other drives. But yeah, it was an 80 terabyte cloud store.
And then they have the Cloud Store Mini, and so that's the 8 terabyte standalone cloud connected drive that's plugging into everyone else's computers, and so that's what's getting the proxies.
Yep.
And so you have to use Dropbox or Google Drive to be the intermediary. There's no Blackmagic doesn't have a native cloud storage.
They don't yet. Yeah, no, they don't have a native one yet, but you can do it any way you want. And there's NAS systems you can do it if you have a big post house, you can connect it any way you want. But what's nice is that they've worked so carefully with the folder structures on Dropbox and Google that it just works faster and smoother, and it's less hands-on. But you can absolutely do it on. We're working with IBM on a project, and they were asking us about, can we do Box or can we do other things? And the answer is yes. So you don't have to use it, but we used Dropbox, and I wasn't a big Dropbox lover or user until this. And then when we saw Dropbox, we had unlimited, so we were just backing up the raw and the proxies every time, so it was just there and not just on the drives. And then it was just so easy to add team members to it, and it just became super simple workflow where one guy on our team ran the whole thing. And so I think that's what the beauty of that is, just like they describe it to me as the file structure and the way Dropbox handles files and separates permissions and things. It makes it just easier to work with.
Okay. And then there's the third thing, the Cloud Pod, which is bring your own hard drive, like a device, the Cloud connects, bring your own hard drive. So you didn't use any of those, but that is another option.
No,
to bring your own
no.
storage.
Everyone was on the 8 terabytes, and then our main drive was the 80. So, yeah, we haven't used the Cloud Pods yet. But I know you don't need any of that. Actually, you can use a hard drive on your desk. You can do it. I think you can do a hard drive without the Cloud Pod. It's just the more the hardware that you're using that's Blackmagic, the faster and more like instantaneous and just plug and go it is. There's less work, like on the Hulu show, you literally, if you were already a user on that project and you packed your stuff up and went on an airplane and landed and plugged that thing back into your computer, and as soon as you're on the internet, you're just connected, you're good to go. Everything goes to where it's supposed to go on the folders. It just drops in instantaneously. So it just ease and time saving, headache saving.
Even prior to the Blackmagic Cloud, did you go down the rabbit hole of just like other remote workflow options or things, or just other networking options like either PostLab, which is a bit more Final Cut or Premiere centric, Iconic, any of these other sort of like cloud media management collaboration tools?
No, I mean, it's the question of can we help fix workflow came from a client not liking all those other ones and having gone through all of them. They do a lot of reality shows, and they're like, can you find something better for us? And that's how we found this. And then it just was so easy to have access to the Blackmagic team, and they were so eager to help us that at some point we're like, should we do this for Avid customers too? And then we're like, nah, let's just keep going with what we're doing. And it's like, I think at some point we might need to offer other services, but it's really fun when you have an exciting, eager company with new technology that sort of crushes anybody else's third-party stuff that we haven't had to. So no, not yet.
Could you configure this? So I mean, if you did go down the Avid route, or you do another NLE, like could you configure this to work with another NLE, or would this be a completely separate solution?
The answer from that question was posed to me that I asked the Blackmagic team, and they said we were not going to answer that, as that would be a conflict of interest. So I think you can, like, I think in theory, if you're using Resolve to make your proxies, and you could create a project and share your proxies through the cloud to everybody's drives, right? And then you could just use those proxies for whatever you want. You don't have to edit
because these proxies are just showing up as files on the hard drive. And then
yeah. So I would think you can. It's just not as like what's beautiful about it is like that project file that you're editing in. Everybody's anybody working on it in real time is only working in Resolve, right? It's like that's what makes it beautiful. And they also have this I forgot the name of it. I'm going to botch it. Screening room, or I forgot the name of it. But if you're not even in Resolve, you can download software to watch what the editors are doing and sort of show your client or your director what's happening, and everyone can log in and see it in real time, and your colorist can show you the color on your iPad or your phone or your laptop if you're even if you don't know Resolve. And those directors and producers or whomever is looking at it can put notes in there, and it'll drop into their notes will go right into the timelines that all the editors are using.
Okay.
So it's just so simple and so interconnected. And like the color, if you're using the color thing and on your own iPad, it'll override the color settings on your iPad to make sure it matches the colorist settings. So there's just taking human error out of everything. It's so nice. And so like Blackmagic showed this to a client the other day, and they're like, holy shit. They were like, how does this, like, I didn't even know this was possible. It was so exciting to see this client in a really big post house in the UK face light up. He's like, this changes everything.
So was this what was used? Because my other question is like, what other tools, if any, were kind of used in just the day-to-day remote post process? One of them was going to be like cut reviews. So was this the solution for like a Frame.io kind of cut review? Like it just could all still be in the Blackmagic Resolve ecosystem?
Yeah, now it's all in there now, and even since we used it on Hulu, more has like improved. So this it's their version of Frame.io basically. It does that, but it's like in their own software, and it's like the notes are coming in. You could add notes just like you do in Frame.io, but they get dropped right into the timeline so everybody can see it.
Right, after that import to bring your stuff in.
Yeah, you don't have to import anything. They also have instant transcription. Not instant, but their own in-house internal software transcription services. It doesn't go up to the cloud. It's all internal. and you can do paper cuts now with their transcriptions that will automatically do a string out of your paper cuts into the timeline. So that's super easy. And you know, you can do color in there. You can do Fairlight as the sound. You can do it all in there without leaving at all. I think on Hulu they mixed outside of Resolve. They did color on Resolve and export, you know, delivered it in Resolve.
Nice. And so, original question: were there any other tools then? Project management, media management, just anything else, and just managing you had 9 people total on the post team that were all remote.
Yeah, everybody was remote, and then our lead guy Justin, he was basically the media manager. He was the lead AE media manager. Sort of his title became workflow architect. You know, he was the one just keeping everybody running smooth, and make sure the media was managed properly. But everything was done in Resolve. Like the proxies were made in Resolve. Everything else, I don't know what other tools there are that I'm forgetting. I wasn't actually hands-on on it. I was watching it happen.
There was a Slack, so there was.
There was a Slack channel.
They didn't solve team communication yet. Yeah. So.
But now they have their own. Since then, they have their own chat within your project. You can now chat with your team, whoever's working on it remotely, and that chat stays within your project. So it's nice. It's anybody can just be chatting within the Resolve software as they're editing, and it gives you a little note that someone's saying something to you, like unlock that bin, and so you don't have to even be on Slack anymore. It's crazy.
All right, maybe they did solve team communication too. It sounds like it went smoothly. You did have Blackmagic support. Where you feel like if you're going forward, assuming you don't have Blackmagic support and you're Slack, any roadblocks or any sticky points where it's just or that stuff that could just be the next thing that you would do differently, or the next project you would do differently?
No, I feel you know, it was the most of the support they were there for was answering the little questions that the editors needed to not lose speed, right? Because they were once they started going, nobody no editor or AE has time to really learn everything before they start the work, right? So it's like anybody else. They're I don't want to learn this shit until I start. When's my payday? Oh, it's Tuesday. I'll start doing it on Tuesday. And so to keep things moving at high speed, the Blackmagic team was answering those questions in real time for them, you know, but nothing was there were no roadblocks that we really needed them for, that editors could have figured out those shortcuts they were talking about without them eventually. And so I feel going forward we're shipping out drives today for a commercial that's shooting in LA and coloring in Prague and VFX somewhere else, and also director in London. And I feel we, knock on wood, we probably don't need Blackmagic to help us on it. Our team can handle it. You know, it's a smaller shoot. So I think if you're doing it on your own, it's just up to you to learn the connectivity of the cloud, and the media management was super simple because it's just going. You need a Dropbox account. You need a Blackmagic account. It goes up and down. It goes to your drives. You can see where it all is. There's a really nice control room monitor we set up so you can see where all the data is.
Oh yeah, did you use because that has an HDMI port to for a status screen? Yeah. Did you use that?
Oh, yeah, it looks super cool. Yeah, why wouldn't it? It looks like a control room. So it's all these purple blocks moving around. It's this is it working. Yeah, we did use that. But yeah, I think once it was up and running, you can do it. It's a little bit scary because when you have 9 people, then you have a lot of questions coming at you, right? Because everybody's gonna probably have some of the same questions, and so I think that was just daunting for us to be fielding those things. But that's why the Blackmagic team helped us out. I don't know. We're meeting with some really big clients right now that want to do this and possibly scale up, and they call Blackmagic and they're what's the best way to do this? And I love it that Blackmagic says call Secret Weapon Studios, because they'll hold your hand through the whole thing, and you won't have to ask us how to do it. They'll show you, and they'll have all the hardware. And so we're becoming the solution for that. Well, shit, I'm not sure if I want to do it, but now we can make it really easy. Mm-hmm. And also, right now, if you wanted to do it without us, you'd go buy drives. You're committing, you're buying drives, and you're okay, now there are drives. We better love this thing.
Yeah. Tell me about, we covered CrewHero. You've got 2 other heroes.
Do we? Oh yeah, we have. The exciting one is that we have a ton of heroes, man. We have a list of 100.
You got the Justice League of filmmaking.
Yeah. We do. And the thing that sucks is speed at which we can build heroes without serious venture capital. And so we have a small lean team. We're still in the pre-seed fundraising thing. We're sort of having fun, not being too panicky about it. And we launched CrewHero. This is PostHero. we just rolled out PlanetHero with a partnership with NASDAQ Hero platform, which basically offsets carbon for any industry. And so we can literally offset the carbon footprint of a film shoot now with a couple clicks on our website. And we did that after I direct a lot of brand content and shot a film for NASDAQ about carbon offset. And I went into it rolling my eyes. I'm like, what the hell is biochar and storing carbon? And why can't we just like use all electric, be green? And if you know film, you know that we just cannot be green fast enough to actually make a difference, right? There's just not enough of it. There's not enough electric generators and enough, crew that's not going to commute in their pickup trucks, from far away. And so I was like learned about the science of carbon offset, which seems like it's growing in popularity over the past year, that you can actually store carbon through biochar is one of the methods you can do it. And that can help offset whatever you're doing. So you pay to create the carbon storage, and then therefore you're helping offset your own carbon. And NASDAQ has like the most regulated like marketplace for this. And then they were excited. I said, is anybody doing this for film industry? And they're like, no. They're like, you should be the first. And so we became, as far as we know, like the first to make it super easy to just offset carbon. And there's a lot of services, like the UK has a lot more of it right now. For some reason, the UK has like a maybe a closer knit industry and most of it's London based, so it's easier to do green things there. And so they have the thing called Albert and some other services where you can tabulate your carbon footprint, but they're like really, really complicated services where you often need a consultant to come in, and they really get into the nitty gritty of like, okay, we're going to help you offset your carbon, but what kind of gas is your grip department using on their vehicles, and what's your crane using, and how much power is your crane pull if it's electric? And it's like, it could take you days to do that kind of math to even understand what your carbon footprint is. So we took averages that we found on various sources, from the Production Guild to Albert to all these different companies have this data that they've done the hard work on tabulating, which is like it's such an exhausting thing. We're like, let's just take all them, build some averages so you could say, oh, look, I'm doing a 3-day commercial shoot and the average footprint is X amount of tons of CO2. And then you can just buy offset those same tons with your credit card. And it's like around $200 a ton to offset it. And we already offset we're fully remote. So we offset our general operations for a year through it. It's pretty fun. And I don't know like how fast it catches on, but it's like, we've been getting a lot of enthusiastic callbacks saying this is really cool because we've been thinking about it and it's always been really complicated, and thank you for making it super simple. And so that's PlanetHero. And then eventually you can't just rely on carbon offset. We're eventually that'll be a home for green products. So we're going to start reaching out to all these green providers and saying, have like a really easy to search green list of
film
green
industry
providers.
related.
Yeah, all film stuff. Yeah. And then like sustainability coordinators and green training for PAs. There's so many things that we need to do to actually change an industry. Like if you've got, I don't know, wherever you live, if you're near a film shoot and you go walk past it, there's going to be like a dozen or more vehicles and half of them are idling.
Yeah. It's like,
right?
like a circus. Yeah.
It's like a circus on diesel, man. It's like never going to change. And it can't change because that circus isn't one entity that owns all those things, right? It's like you need like 50 or 100 businesses come together for that single day of shooting, right? If you think about like the catering to the walkies to everything, so all of that has to be green before a shoot is green. So we're trying to provide a little bridge for that in the short term, and so that's kind of fun. That was
last episode. I was talking to Final Pixel, which did F1 reveal spot, and they were talking about. It wasn't really even on my radar, but they're like, we had to track the carbon and like offset the carbon and like keep doing a virtual production, kept everything very green because they didn't actually have to drive the car, and that the only thing that was like carbon heavy was the director flying from LA to London to like bring the drives and like finish it. But then they like had the exact number like of the carbon footprint and how they had to offset it. They're UK based, and I don't know if that was a UK. I didn't dig into it, but I don't know if that's a UK thing, or then I was thinking like, oh, F1 has this whole like zero free initiative. So I'm not sure if that was like an F1 thing of like the teams have to do that, but it is definitely like something that even with the promo shoots they're tracking and offsetting.
Yeah, and I think California just passed a law where if you have a company over a certain size, you have to publicize, you have to make it public your carbon footprint now. It's like a new law. So like there's there's more, and there's so many articles coming out about like carbon this, carbon that. Like people are, it's clearly people aren't leaning to electric fast enough, and all the solutions. So there's a lot of activity in the carbon offset world, and so it's there, and it's like it's kind of dumb. Like if you're spending $100,000 a shoot for the day, and you're creating all kinds of carbon, like out of it's like several tons of carbon. If you can offset that, at least do something and like offset it for $200 per ton, and it's going to cost you maybe $1,000 or two on top of your $100,000 day. Like, why wouldn't you do that? So that's why like sort of what we're going to like shame our industry into using the offset tools until they're there. So when you start thinking about it, we are not doing anything as an industry to change fast, and it's just because we can't. I don't think it's because we don't want to, it's just because we can't.
And with PlanetHero, you can put in some of the parameters of like your shoot and what it entails, and it'll give you the estimate of like how much of what the carbon footprint was.
Yeah, the hardest part is the math, and so we were trying to simplify the really complicated calculators for a while, so you could come in and say, oh, I'm shooting for 2 days in Toledo, and here's like the basics, but it really gets mind-boggling complicated if you start to do your own math. And so what we did was we took everyone else's math that has done the math and created averages. So you can just sort of see an average of a documentary shoot or an average of an episodic series, and you can look at that and be like, oh shit, this is 27 tons per project and so I can offset that for X amount of dollars. And so you're just sort of looking at what averages are, and then you pay to offset X amount of tons for your project. So we can't say that it's carbon neutral. It's not like certified carbon neutral or any of those things, but it's like, I know that I offset 10 tons of CO2 from my shoot for X amount of dollars, thanks to PlanetHero. So it's doing something instead of nothing.
Yeah. Noble mission.
Yeah.
And then the last hero and the Captain Planet ring, ProductionHero.
Yeah. ProductionHero is the beast that is like, imagine it as the glue that holds everything together, that it's taken longer to build than we want, but we're getting there with it. Ultimately, you should be able to go to ProductionHero and start a job, add your own crew to it from your own database, or find crew through us, set up post through us, offset the carbon through us, find cast through us. So it's going to be like this hub where you can do everything. And because it needs to do everything, it becomes a very complicated, we're starting sort of like with Airtable style, spreadsheets that have all these unique ways you can work with it, but then you need it, then it has to interact with your crewing, and then it has to interact with post. So it's coming, and that's sort of like the mother ship that we're going to make that free. And so then anybody who wants to use it, it should be able to it'll be able to import your call sheets and take your crew and start building your own network of your crew, like your own network of your own crew through our software. And then you can organize them there the way you want, and you could build a new call sheet, build a new job, check their availability. And then if you're like, oh shit, we need a boom op in Toledo, click here, and then we'll find that for you. So imagine it'll turn into like a call sheet that finds things for you.
Okay. So is it more on the crew scheduling, contact management end versus like a shot list or a production?
Yeah, but I think, so what it'll do is, because we can't build everything ourselves, and the beauty of tech is there's so many awesome tools out there, right? There's so many tools right now for locations, casting, budgeting, payroll, and we can't compete with all that, but what we're going to do is bring it all together and connect it all. So it once it's working, it'll literally anything you need, from starting a job from scratch all the way through payroll and delivery and post, will be under that little umbrella of ProductionHero. And we should probably take it off our website because it doesn't work yet. But it's like the idea, I want people to know, hey, this is the idea.
It's in alpha mode or something.
Yeah, it's not even in beta yet. But yeah, it's kind of, and I think we do you use Airtable ever? Like a lot of production.
Yeah, I love Airtable. I mean, the problem is when you need to add people for seats, their seats are pretty pricey.
Right. So we're working on ways to let you access what we're doing through Airtable. So like an Airtable plugin. So we might have a ProductionHero Airtable plugin or a CrewHero version of that.
So it would be based in Airtable, but you would just like use your extension in it or something. Okay.
Yeah, we would be. Yeah, sorry, that's the word, an extension. So we're working on a CrewHero extension. So then if you're using it and you're like, oh, I can just connect to CrewHero and they'll find crew for me, and then later on we'll bring ProductionHero in as that, because of the seat thing, we were building our own version of Airtable. So anybody could use it. And the goal is to make most of what we're doing free, right? Like Airtable is mainly free until you start using it in more robust ways, and then you need to pay for seats. we wanted to make everything we do free, unless you need to buy some carbon offset. We want to make crew searching free, and just make it like a hub where everybody can use it. But that's a beast to build and taking longer than we wanted. So now we're focusing. We built everything. Our backbone of all of our software is through Airtable mainly, with all these other parts connecting to it. So just trying to now lean on that so we can release ProductionHero a little faster, but in the form of Airtable.
Any other tools, not even from you, but I mean, I just like talking about tools and managing productions and posts and stuff. Any other tools that you've been using or just been on your radar that's like help streamline stuff?
So I've been shooting a lot. I don't like see any, I mean, I don't know, nicer cameras, more expensive lenses. Trying to think of what I've seen out there that was exciting. Oh man, is there something that you've been using that you've been excited by? Like, has anything?
I mean, project management, everything. We've just been doing ClickUp, and I mean, I tried a bunch. I tried Notion. I tried Monday. ClickUp, it's got its issues, but overall, like, it's been the one-stop shop because it's got like doc support, so we can like keep our documentation in it. We could like map out all our videos, tasks. Their guest policy is one of the best ones I've seen, where we could add guest seats. They have like full access to those tasks, and you can do things, and we don't have to pay for them. Yeah.
So you like that better than Airtable?
I still use Airtable. I mean, Airtable is super fast. It's much better at just like database stuff, which is what it is built for. ClickUp can be a little bit sluggish and slow when you have a bunch of records. That's like its biggest issue, and they're trying to speed it up. But we could kind of keep more stuff managed and chat and comments and all sorts of stuff inside ClickUp, whereas Airtable gets its limits. I use Airtable more for like either tracking once we post stuff, like I have automations that go and add them to Airtable, and we can kind of just track metrics and stuff in Airtable, and a lot of research stuff I'll like scrape it and put it in Airtable so it can be a database so we can filter out for like research things.
It's crazy though, like there's not like, what our goal is, there's not one spot to go to that'll fix all these problems, right?
Especially with like the needs that are kind of specific for like media production and stuff, like all these things, even with ClickUp, it's like, we kind of hacked some stuff together to get it to do what we need.
Yeah. And so it's a fun time to be seeing like so many solutions, but not one spot. So we're hustling to make one little home for everything. And we've had calls with everybody from like MTV crewing to Warner Discovery to other ones where we're like, you're a billions of dollars size company. What is your proprietary software? And the MTV guy said, we were told we have to learn Airtable. And I was like, okay. And then Warner, I direct a lot of brand content for Warner, and they do the same thing. They work off Airtable and keep all their crew in there and organize their stuff. And so it is not, there's not a single solution. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that from each one of these places.
That's interesting to hear, because I felt like I heard that like Airtable was shifting more towards like enterprise customers and away from solo or like the smaller seat users. And hearing that, I'm like, okay, well, that confirms of stuff I heard where they're like, that's their target of like big seat users. I feel like with like larger companies too, I mean, is it because they're so big, is it like more like teams kind of just have their own, like, is there company wide systems, or is it more like the marketing team has their system and the finance team has their system? Does it get more siloed?
Yeah, it is. I think at Warner, I directed there forever, and there has never been like one platform that everybody's on. And I think it's the same thing. It's like, so there's not like a single industry-wide home. That would be a beast to build, right? But I think if we can just sort of get the crewing,
the production
and the
end, making stuff, and
just the production end, and basically we want to, we're working on we're rolling out DroneHero, more for like prosumer level, where you can just put in the address that you need droning on it, auto search the flyable if you can fly it or not, and then it'll find a drone op for you to go shoot. If you want to have less money, you can say I have 5 days for the footage or whatever, and then a drone op could go do that in an hour. So we're doing like from drone op to casting, drones to casting to locations to like punch ups on scripts, like anything you could think of should eventually be like on our app. Push a button and you get, look, I need my crew, I need my, I need a drone op, I need a boom op, I need a cast, I need maybe I just need payroll, or I need a van, or I need to talk to somebody for help, and all that should be under one hub where no matter what level of production you're on, we should be able to help you because all those tools are out there, or we're building the ones that aren't and then putting them all together. So It's a fun time. All we need is more money, man. You know, any investors that like to invest in
I'll
film side of
let you
things.
know if I find them. Cool. I appreciate it, Greg. Thanks for chatting and nerding out about all sorts of production and post-production stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for using our CrewHero service. Now I got to talk to you and using PostHero and offsetting your carbon with PlanetHero. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
All right, thanks a lot. And that's it for the episode. Thank you for watching or listening. I'd love to know your thoughts. So head over to the YouTube link if you're not already watching it there and leave your thoughts in the comments. That's the best spot to leave your thoughts and discuss about what you heard in this episode. And thanks to Greg for coming on. I appreciate the time. If you want to get more content like this, be sure to subscribe to VPland, our newsletter, ntm.link/VPland. And also, if you did like this podcast, be sure to subscribe in your podcast app of choice or hit subscribe on our YouTube channel and give it a thumbs up /5-star review, depending on where you're listening to it. There are multiple spots you could watch or listen to this podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. I'll catch you in the next episode.